Hey everyone. All right, welcome to Opal Oracle. If you're new, if you're returning, well, welcome back. Now, a quick announcement. I moved again. For those of you who've been around, you know this is regular. But this time I moved to the country. Thank goodness. The thing is the internet's super slow, and honestly, it takes about 24 hours straight of uploading to, never mind the recording, to get one video up. So for the mid-monthlies, this is what we're going to be doing until I sort out some sort of other scenario. So enjoy it. I'm not going to timestamp it because this is also a collective reading, if you please, but feel free to do so if you so do desire, right? Okay, well, for everyone, the collective energy is the Six of Cups as well as the Emperor. So, I heard solving those karmic cycles, particularly emotionally, in hopes of evening out our actions in this life, right, in this time. Figuring out how to have better action in an empowered way versus living in the past, right? So let's begin with Scorpio. We have one card that represents what you're doing in the spiritual world. You have the Eight of Pentacles, and in the physical world, awesome, Ace of Cups. I also chose an extra card just to see if there's any additional energy. We have the Ten of Wands. Well, I see it's important for you to continue what it is that you're doing, Scorpio, in this mid-month, in this time. You know, keep working on. It's interesting, the physical world is in your spirituality. The watery Ace of Cups, because it can also be spirituality to me, is in the physical world. So there's a nice mirroring. Continue to work on your own self-love. Continue to work on your own, filling your own cup, right? Keep at the projects that you're doing. I do see that with the Ten of Wands here, you need to pay attention to the amount of energy that you're giving to the physical world, to the spiritual world, because that's only two pieces. And the other part of that is you, right? Just being, and not necessarily physically, intently, energetically paying attention to these two things at the bottom, because then I just feel like you're playing like Pong, you know? And there's a need, maybe that's what we were talking about, the mountain too, right? Like coming to that point. Good. For some of you, you could kind of have a heavy load, but I sense that because again, the spiritual and the physical world are so intertwined. Jupiter just left your sign too, right? So be grateful for the things that you sorted out, you know? Be grateful for how strong you are. Love yourself for that. And, you know, because part of that too, filling your own cup is one of the, you know, especially in the physical world, through the spiritual realm. It's really interesting. You'll be fine. All right, next. I'll help you guys. 437. Okay, Sagittarius. In the spiritual world, we have the Two of Swords, rather. In the physical world, Four of Cups, Sagittarius. The additional card is the Empress, Kokula says. I heard times are changing. The times are changing. I just sense with this too, there's something about, I think most of you here are, you know, anywhere about averagely 30 and beyond, but I feel like old photographs really do say a lot, right? Like there's something about, she has a little smile on her face. She really doesn't. So if you have a photo album, plus this all has to do with memory, right? Maybe you'll be taking a little bit more time with going through I feel like we talked about this, like you making a time capsule or something, right? Did we talk about this? You're still sorting something out in the spiritual world too. For a lot of you, it's about your mom or the females in your life. And also checking in with how you make decisions and whether you're making them from, like I mentioned in the beginning, like an empowered stance, or if you're making it from like a meh, I just want to get that done kind of stance. Okay? I mean, Jupiter just came into your sign. So there's a lot of energy, like what are you wanting to grow, right? And but these two cards are very stagnant. So we've talked about this all year, but you really got to say how you, what you're feeling, you know, not in a boohoo way, just, you know, be honest with yourself about it. Not everybody's going to love you the way that you want to be loved, but that doesn't mean that you don't have love in your life, right? We always have exactly what it is that we need to be able to grow what it is that we want. Always. But it takes time to grow, right? All right, Sagittarius, cool. Happy birthday to any of you, too, who are having it early. Okay, 8/16. Capricorn. We have the Three of Wands in the spiritual world. Empress in the physical world. Awesome first person and major arcana. And then we have the King of Swords. Let me look at these. There's a difference of opinion. I also see that there's space and time in between that's necessary in a way. Time to think, right? I see that it's also important for you to think about interesting. Something about last March, something about last June, this past June. And then when you get to this following March and this following June, something about comparing it, right? It's interesting. These two, I'm trying to like hear what they are saying, but they're both just sitting. It's not like there's any worry here, right? It's just, there's just like, okay, I've done what I needed to do, and now here I am, and I'm willing to wait. The Empress is patience. King of Swords is patience. This is patience. So I guess, Capricorn, the best thing I can suggest to you at this time is to be patient. Right? You're working on gaining towards the fourth wand, right? The North Node is also moving into Cancer in the spiritual world, right? Once you have 4, that means your spiritual world comes into the physical world. So that's important, right? And then your physical world is at a 3 also, 2 3s. You're pretty balanced there, right? The trifecta. Gaining a new understanding about it. I do see 3 to 6 months too. Like, what do you want to be? What do you want to make? Something like that. All right, 1123. Aquarius. It's interesting. I tried to do the spiritual world, physical world, just to see. But I feel like it all intertwined. There's not really a way to separate it. It doesn't work like that, you know? We could try. We could try to separate it, but it generally doesn't work in that way. Because to get a well-rounded understanding, a perception of a situation, you have to combine all the pieces, right? Can't be insular with your thinking, or it won't, right? We have to be really open-minded about it. And that's interesting. You ended up with the Page of Swords here. Be excited. I heard be excited and extreme, and it goes back to what I said in the beginning. Be really open-minded about it. Like, what are all the what are all the pieces? You know? What are all the pieces before you move forward with? I mean, there's a slow and a steady progress, but I see that spiritually speaking, you have to how do I want to explain it? Just a second. What did I say to Pisces at one time? I was just like, you can't get spiritual understanding through a drive-through window. You know what I mean? And what is spiritual understanding? I'm not trying to be like an egotist of even speaking it in this way, but it's just like, well, understanding spirit is understanding yourself within the physical world and within your internal world. And then therefore you can be more understanding to other people and places and things, and therefore that creates a different reality in your world. I see that it's important right now for you to really, I mean, yes, you have to be responsible, right? Slow and steady, but you can really have an open mind about the situation. Use a really, what can I do? Because I sense that you also have like a spiritual backing, but whatever it is that you do as you move forward, I guess it's just important to take a gander around before you into anything, you know? In the physical world, use your mental power creatively as much as possible. I heard after, of course, you've handled your responsibilities. Okay. 1455. Yeah. Okay. Where are we now? Pisces. Hi. Page of Pentacles. That's the spirit world. That's cool. That means you're learning things about that. Wow, very earthly. Physical world, 10 of Pentacles, as well as the Hermit. All earth. Wow. Hold on. During this time, I think you'll be able to connect a lot of dots to where your, I feel like there will be like memory to things that happened in childhood, but it's not like where it's like a big traumatic event or even like the biggest, happiest event. It's just like a little memory of you doing whatever you were doing in that time and space. And something that you like maybe haven't thought about for a long time, or, you know, just gets stored away somewhere. But that is that whatever that is that you recall, it has something to do with recalling something. Well, then you go from there, if you can view it and use this hermit ability and really analyze it accordingly so that you can finish the cycle, then what you have will double. That's cool. This is very stable too. Learning a lot, of course, about family. What that means. You know, maybe with this hermit too, it's like soul family. Doesn't have to be blood related, you know, it can be your dogs. It can be your, whoever you consider, you know, especially that North Node in Cancer too. It's like really family, soul family, you know. It's like you have a, there's like a mathematical understanding too to something, like a reduction or a deducing, a clarifying. It's fascinating. I wish I could express it better. Excuse me. All right. Happy mid-month. Pisces, Aries, hi. Let's see, in the spiritual world, 8 of Cups. In the physical world, Queen of Swords. And we have the Fool. Look how cute that is. Ah, awesome. Walking forward, maturing, get to a position of, I heard maturity and clarity, and then I heard the word authority, and then from there you can begin. Brand new, really new. Now, of course, this is this time frame, and whenever you find it, but you're just learning what's good for you and what's not good for you. And I like that, you know, it's important in the physical aspect, you know, the physical world to feel safe and loved and protected. This Queen of Swords definitely, look, she's holding her hand out right to the Fool, you know. She's like, go ahead. I got your back. It's kind of like, I got to go around this corner and you're with your friend or somebody and they're like, go ahead, I got you. It's fine. I'll watch back. Like, don't worry about it. You're never going at it alone is the point. That's something to remember. You're never going at it alone. Even when you feel like it. Right? Even the Fool is by itself, usually, except for the little dog. That technically is alone. There's no humans there, but don't worry. You're never alone. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for you to think about, Aries. I also heard you don't have to point out the obvious during this time. It's not necessary. 2047. Taurus, in the spiritual world, 3 of Swords. In the physical world, Lovers. Wow. And then we have the 7 of Pentacles. Remember that reading? Time's up. Time's up. For those of you who have been around, even if you haven't, you can go into my playlist, and it was just a second. This is important. It's in the extra readings, and it's under the fixed signs. It's you and Scorpio. That reading was from actually probably last year, exactly this time. Time's up. But that's good. It's like, it's the kind of time's up where time's up, you know, we don't have to sit in something, in an energy, or have thoughts about things, because thoughts can hurt. Right? The way we think about something, the way we're talked to, the way we talk to other people can hurt other people. Right? We're sensitive beings. These swords would go right through those people any day. Right? So it's very important to think about that. I also feel like this is kind of like a boxer. It's like kind of, you know, scrappy, you know. So somebody's kind of scrappy. But the thing is I guess if there's people around you, Taurus, that are, because I don't really, man, whatever, it's your reading too, of course, but it's you. But I also sense there's just something that you're learning about, well, everybody heals differently, and sometimes people's defenses, right, when they don't know how to feel comfortable just in themselves, right? Or just in this life, completely nude, completely exposed, right? Because if you tore it down to the smallest point, like, in a way, this would be going on in there. So, but I want you to know that you can fight that. Whatever it is internally, any kind of hidden, to me, a lot, this can be hidden pain. You can't see your heart, you know? But I see your external world is helping your internal world and your spiritual world heal. See if there's something else. I heard something. That Time's Up video is important. Okay. You could have communication issues about money too with a partner. But if that's the case, you have to know your own finances, be in charge of that, know what your bills are, know what you can afford. But that's also just like, I heard it's about knowing what you can afford and what you cannot afford in this life, right? And whatever context you want to put that in. And then you need to express that accordingly to people so that you don't overexert yourself unnecessarily, Taurus. You can have sweeter relationships with people too, right? Honesty is totally acceptable. Okay. Gemini. Hi. Let's see, in your spiritual world, 9 of Swords. In your physical world, the Moon. Wow, are you okay? And the 5 of Swords. Are you alright? What happened? I just thought about when you take 2 identical twins and you separate them, it's almost impossible for them to be separated, right? Even if they try to move away and be adults, they still come back to the same space and time. It's like, it's basically impossible because you can't get away from yourself, right? I feel like that's something you're really learning about. Those two, your 2 sides. I mean, everybody's got multiple, masculine and feminine to them, whatever, but you don't have to, there's something that you don't understand yet either, and it's interesting. The Moon also rules your mind. You have all these swords here. I guess what I have to say is chill out, easy during this time. You don't, there's something, this is in the dark, this is in the dark. She's got her head down. Take it easy. Sometimes when heavy thoughts come to, it's when the shadow, or we let denser energy into to invade our space of our body, right? And so what you can do, well, at least it just showed me that what you can do is you can just be like, I actually saw someone doing this is, I don't know if they have this in other countries, but there used to be this thing in the 80s called the clapper, and it was so that you could be lazy and just turn off your lights without getting up. It's like pre-remotes for most things. But either way, is something like that where, like, if your thoughts start getting too dark, you can just be like, I don't know, clap or something, and just be like, on. Like, I just want the lights on. And as soon when you do that, what happens is it pushes out whatever that shadow is. And wherever that goes, I don't know. I don't have the answer for everything. Obviously. But it's important. The only thing you can, I heard the only thing that you can change in this world is you, in your space, your comfort zone, right? Your radius of self. That's what you are in control of, and that is all. So that's something that you have to think about. Okay? And take it easy on yourself. Chill out, really. If there's something that you don't understand and you're not sleeping well, maybe if you're staying up worrying at night, then you should, turn off your electronics a couple hours before you go to sleep. Don't drink coffee late. Any kind of stimulus, right? Watching television, all that. Maybe turn off the lights or turn them low and just chill before you go to bed. Because you'll have better dreams to help you understand what it is that's going on. Okay, Gemini. 2944. Let's do Cancer in the spiritual world. 7 of Swords. In the... Of course, this is all combined. In the physical world, 5 of Wands. And then we have the 4 of Pentacles. Cancer. you can't give all the time. You can't, I heard you cannot give enough. There's no way that you can give your time, your energy, your money to solve anything. And if anything, you should be reserving your energy, your communication, even with folks. Like, keep it simple. Do not, because I see you having, right? Okay, so just a quick, the North Node is going into your sign. I don't know exactly when, I can't recall, it's late. But the point is that it's been in Leo, now it's going into Cancer. It's going to be in your first house, Cancer. So that's kind of like you being like, now, I mean, depending on where you are on the path, like if you've been a real pushover, just giving, and then expecting but not receiving, right? Now, for some of you, you're going to get real pissed. And it's really, that means that you have Rahu, the head of the dragon, or your karmic, what you're supposed to be doing. And then the tail of the dragon, which will be shitting out. That's the end of the karmic contract. It's in your 7th house of partnerships, contracts, you know? So I feel like people are too stubborn right now to try to, like, have the conversation, and you don't there's something about you not trusting someone, or you don't, there's so many I feel like there's so many things that are inside for some of you that you've built up a lot. Okay, this is about holding things in also. For some of you, it's if you end up having like a big blowout conversation, or just a lot of something becomes, because what happens with all this buildup is eventually like something comes and makes a space for something to move, right? Because things are too stuck. You need to focus on yourself, focus on your physical, like, organize your physical world, okay? Organize your finances, your energy, your time. That'll help you sort out your mind. Figure out what your next step on your spiritual journey is also. But the more that if you try to be, not that you're an argumentative person. It's interesting. I don't necessarily sense that for most Cancers. I mean, whatever, that's general, but there's friction in your physical world, and because of that, it's if you're letting that affect you and holding that all in instead of assessing it, then what happens is you spiritually backtrack, and that's not necessary. Don't do that. Okay. I also see you kind of, I did say don't argue, and yeah, you don't solve anything that way. But I will say, if you end up having a disagreement with someone or some sort of difficult conversation, I feel like all these people and every one of these cards holds a grudge too. So there might be something that you want to check in of, if you're still mad at anything from before, because that from before, right? Long time ago even, because that affects who we are now, right? And where it is that we go, right? So that shift with that North Node, you'll figure it out. It'll soften itself, don't worry. All right, Leo, 3504. Hi, Leo. In the spiritual world, the 2 of Pentacles in the physical world, 2 of Wands. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. Just a minute, Leo. Interesting 2 twos. Who got that 2? Doesn't matter. Good. I sense the where you are spiritually and where you are physically are having like a conversation. They're aware of one another. It's actually the first ones out of everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're the 10th sign. In the first sign to have the spiritual world and the physical world having a conversation with each other. That's really cool. It's really cool. And then I saw you sort of both of those things, because they're looking at one another, but they're kind of coming towards one another with some sort of bias. And what happens is there's just like a vanishing point. But when you get to that vanishing point, what happens is there's something just... It's like you reached the vanishing point. It's very, very interesting. You're discovering how to, for some of you, you're really connecting the spiritual work and the physical work, or physical work. They're so, or at least during this time, you're learning a lot about that. You know? How one affects the other. You know? How they're ultimately intertwined and shape our world. And the more that we learn about that, the more that we can shape our world to be what it is that we desire. From a place that we can always learn, right? That's cool, Leo. That's very humble of you. Good. I also heard asking other people about their opinion too, or the way they think, or what works for them is cool. You know, that's a really nice way to learn. You know. And knowing that whatever the position is can change, you know, with time. If we want. Or not. Alright, 38, 33. What do we got here? Sorry, I just did Leo. Did I just space out? Hold on. Virgo. Just checking on Zoomy, sorry. Virgo. Spiritual world. King of Wands. Physical world. King of Swords. Holy Toledo. Oh, what do you got here? 6 of Wands. Wow. Okay. Two kings. That's all. Just a minute. You're externalizing what you've learned I also sense that you're learning something. There's something about, sorry Virgo, this is really interesting. I did just get tired too. I did all the readings. 40 minutes is a lot. It's like I almost want to just be quiet and be like, can't you just read my mind? You know, I'm so sick of doing, talking, whatever. Not that it's not successful, not that it's not, you know, we're not happy to be here, but we worked all the way from the ace to the king. Can't we just get off the bicycle for a second and sit down? Interesting reading. I like when you smile. It's so funny. You're like one of the most serious, to me, signs, but you're such a powerful smile. Well, I see. All right, let's put it squarely, simply. You're going to be very aware and focused and really willing to start learning, taking the skills that you've had. This relates to the prior reading, because the king's looking over there. It's like the king, this Virgo, your spiritual section is checking out what Leo's been doing, which is the sign before you, and that's really cool. And this is Libra, which is the sign after you in the physical world. And for some reason, there's some sort of marriage of the properties of Leo and the properties of Libra, and here you are in the middle, right? Here's the mountain. Fascinating. Never thought about it like that. Thanks. Thank you for teaching me. That's cool. You are succeeding in that. See, it took a second to get it out, but there it is. This is very serious, though, so I guess just sit and enjoy where you are right now in this time, right? Of course, kings, handle your business, whatever, but just enjoy it. I feel like you get a little bit of a congratulations, you can sit down now. So do that. All right, love ya. 42, 48, Libra, last but not least, spiritual world, King of Pentacles, wow. And the physical world, oops, Knight of Swords. You also received the Hanged Man. You're too fast for somebody. I also see that you, during this time, you're helping someone free themselves from something. Okay? Don't worry about if people understand you or not. There's something about that. Don't worry about other people's impatience level either. I also see that your spiritual side or part of self wants you to be a bit more zen and patient. Okay? Because this is your physical world. So fast, so fast. But Hangman and King of Pentacles, just chill out. Chill out. What you in a rush for? It's not your job to save people, remember? Remember, it's not your job to save people. It is not your job. That gets you all hung up. Right? 44, 44. Yes, that's at 16, that's the tower. Don't worry about that. Don't even get involved in other people's, whatever they're doing. What are you doing? You can't rush anyone either to figure something out or to detangle. Yes, you're helping them in your own way, But it's the kind of helping that's not like, here's a bunch of help. It's just you being in your highest self, where you're patient and deep rooted with the earth, with yourself. You're really grounded, right? That's how you help other people. Yes, of course, words can be helpful. You're an air sign, but that's not the point, right? That's not the point. Dark grapes, green vegetables too. Seems basic, but there's something about that. And really slow down on your communication during this time, okay? You want to be rooted, grounded, stable, patient before you say whatever it is you want to say, because you could be foolish and you know better, right? So there. All right, anyone who's still here, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel and participating in it and wanting to learn and grow and, you know, not necessarily, you know, I don't want anyone relying on tarot. That's not the point. You know, if anything, this is supposed to, and I sense this is part of why it's so big. I don't know why I'm telling you this right now, but I guess I'm supposed to. Is that tarot, in a way, I sense that part of the reason that it's so popular at this time and acceptable is because people are supposed to be, there's this tool presented to the collective, the majority, right? And so you can use that tool however you please. Yes, of course, this tool is old and will stay around, and has been around for a very long time, but it's not about relying on this, right? It's not about eventually like a disabled child will never be able to truly like take care of itself, right? It always has to have a caretaker with them. They can never survive like on their own. They can't be the king of swords, you know what I mean? But all of you are perfectly able folks. And so that's really what tarot is for you to learn that all these things are already inside of you. Yes, we have to work out the kinks, right? Learn to fill our own cup. Learn to love ourselves regardless of who our mother or our father was, or our siblings, or like where we went to school, or whatever. Who you know, who your sages are, who you look up to, what you see as successful, all this jazz. But because what if the internet disappeared tomorrow? What are you gonna do? You know, there's messages everywhere, and it's just good whoever's using these tools appropriately. And I can tell that there's a lot of you here that really are, and I just appreciate it. It's really, you know, it feels empowering. It feels like it's expanding, and in a good way, you know. All the kindness that you put out there is like kindness, obviously, that you're putting out to everything. You know, the more that we do that, you know, to me, that's part of what praying is. It's just being kind and appreciative, you know. Anyway, thanks. I'll see you December. Take care.